What's up, homies? Welcome back to Agents After Hours. Our podcast is for agents who want to talk about the parts of this industry no one wants to say out loud.
We're Erica,
And Paige.
and we're here to bring you unfiltered, unapologetically honest real estate talk. So pour a drink, take a breath, and let's dive in, baby.
So I'm kind of raw dogging this episode. I had a whole idea in my head how I was going to present this, but you wanted to be organized, so that kind of threw up my plan. I was just going to throw you into it, and I wanted your raw reaction to some of the shit I was going to talk about. I was going to give you the
Really
tea.
talked about it. Yeah, we haven't really talked about anything that we're going to talk about. And when we were kind of brainstorming right now, I was like, wait, let me save this rage that I have for the podcast because I'm
Save it for
freaking
the
annoyed.
pod.
Save it for the pod. And I've been actually keeping track of things that have been triggering me this week in real estate, and I'm ready to talk about them.
I'm so excited. Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say, did you see that I posted on the story, ask Erica if she's triggered because she's fucking triggered? And I did that so I could actually remember to talk about this. And then I put it on the note, and I was so mad about this that I was gonna do a voice note and then just plug it in because I'm like, it's not gonna hit the same when I'm not mad about it anymore.
Yeah, I agree. The rage, but also, didn't Kayla tell us, speak from healing or whatever? Not a wound. But you know what? This is our podcast and we speak from wounds.
I want to speak from this wound. This pissed me off.
Yeah, I'm speaking from wounds or annoyance as well too. But what kind of started this episode is I sat on a panel at our local association. Just as full disclosure, this has no correlation whatsoever. There's no connection. So anything I say has nothing to do with the local association and vice versa. I am just doing a recap as a proud Paige moment that I sat in front of a handful of people to speak about shit that I feel like I didn't deserve to be in the room. But I did. Okay. I think I did great.
Okay.
But essentially it was a best practice panel, and the entire time I was like, I'm so nervous, I'm gonna puke. And my daughter was like, well, then just puke. Just mom. And I'm like, okay, sass, whatever.
She's like, don't talk about it, be about it.
I know. So I figured for this episode, and especially with the shit that Erica has faced the past week and some of the shit that I have faced the past week, that best practices and bad practices would be a great topic to talk about. So
all right. Let's dive in, baby.
Okay, so kicking it off with some of the better practices that I think are kind of cool to talk about, because at this panel there was a lot of really good information, and it seemed like a lot of it was pretty centered, but some key points that I wanted to talk about. And I also kind of wanted to ask you the questions as well too, to see what your input is. So essentially this best panel was people that have been doing in the business for a while, or a high producer, and the people that were in the audience were going to be newer agents, or agents that maybe don't produce a lot, or maybe they've been in a long time and they want to refresh, things like that. So essentially this is what this panel was for. So one of the questions was, what is something that you would do same or different if you were starting out as an agent?
Okay. You want me to go first?
Whatever you want. I can go first. I have my answers already written down because I already spoke on this.
Go ahead.
Okay. So when I first started in the industry, I was very loud and obnoxious, and I shoved it down everybody's throat that I was a realtor. So in the beginning, you don't necessarily have experience or transactions or something like that to sell yourself. So essentially, you have to sell your eagerness and you have to sell your work ethic. And I think a lot of people, they get hung up on oh, I don't want them to know that I'm new. If your work ethic is fire, if it's bomb and your eagerness is there to match it, they're not even going to be able to know, because you're so driven and so go, 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 go to get the answer, that they're not even going to know that you've only been doing this for a year, 6 months, whatever, first transaction. So I think that what I would continue to do the same is I would sell my work ethic and my eagerness. What I would do differently is get more involved with agents in neighboring associations. So I would have a referral source that seemed a little bit more organic. I would have already planted that seed for it to bloom later on in my career.
Mm-hmm.
So those are the sames and differences for me.
Okay. Okay, so for myself, one of the things that I did before I got licensed is I spent a lot of time learning. So, like, I started listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos, doing all the things like the moment I got my license. I got licensed in November of 21 and I didn't sell my first house until January of 2022, which isn't that long really, but those few months I thank you. My first few months, I really educated myself and I really immersed myself. I went to everything that I could attend to learn. I found all the free resources I could find, so I kind of already had an idea of how I wanted to run my business and how I wanted things to kick off for me. So I would definitely do that the same. I also built my business from the very beginning on trust and education. I never, even my reviews from day one, I never been like a pushy. I've never been a transaction like agent where it's like I'm all about the numbers. I've been very relationship focused, and I would do that the same. Um, Different. I think I would have built my systems ASAP because as much as I
Mm,
knew how I wanted things to go, I didn't take the time to like sit and implement like get things going to how I wanted to actually run the business part of things. For example, the taxes, the financial part of things like that, as well as like getting things lined up for on the client side of things. And then I would have spent more time getting involved. But I, I really never had to answer how long I had ever been in the business. I don't think anybody ever asked me that. My first two transactions were listings. Um, and it never really came up.
yeah. I I don't know if necessarily it ever came up for me, like a blank question, but I wasn't chosen one time because somebody else had more experience, and that's when I was like, "No." And I do like, being into this business now almost 10 years, like, I do see I do see the difference. I do understand. But I don't think that, like, if somebody, like a new agent with a good work ethic that maybe doesn't have the experience under them. And when I say experience, what I mean is that this industry, you don't know what you don't know, and you don't know how to problem solve a situation until you've been in several of like tight positions. Like, there's situations that happen that I'm like, well, I've never dealt with this before, but we're going to figure it out. So like, being a problem solve, like, and so when you do that a lot, when you've done that a handful of years, you can kind of roll with the punches and you can pivot, and you know strategies and systems that worked in the past that you can implement for a new problem. So I think in the beginning you don't have that knowledge. That's what I mean by experience. Not just like number of years in the business, number of transactions. It's also because there's so many problems that can happen. So it's that. I didn't want anybody to know I didn't know how to figure that out, because I did.
Yeah, I understand. I do think that because I've sold my house with an agent who was like that was her first sale, and I think that she did great, but there were certain nuances to like what we had going on that ended up fucking us over, and so you you don't know that, but I just think if you have a good team behind you, like because I'm
Hmm.
starting my team this year, and so I think that like they'll be able to lean on me and obviously know that I'm an open door and I'll be
Yeah.
able to guide them through things like that because to your point, you have no idea what to expect. I think that a new agent can definitely get you through a transaction and I think that they could definitely guide you, but I do think that you need to have something solid behind you
Yeah.
to
I
be able to
agree.
push you through.
I
I
do
couldn't
agree.
imagine being a new agent at like a cloud brokerage where I didn't have someone there. I had a mentor thankfully, and but I couldn't imagine being somewhere and just feeling like I was on my own and to try to navigate through that, I would have fumbled so many times.
Yeah. So maybe that's a thing, like, if you are a newer agent and you worry that maybe you don't have a mentor because you are at a cloud brokerage or something like that. I mean, I think that's also important why you choose the brokerage that you choose. I mean, you need to be able to have a mentor. Both of my managing brokers in the past, like, if we got into a pickle, I could call them. But I also know that there's a lot of managing brokers around here, or a lot of agents that don't have managing brokers like that, where if they're in a pickle, it's for them to figure out. So I think that that's also important as well. Okay. So you said systems. You said that that is something that you wish you would have done. At that panel, that was said. One of the other panelists said that, like, this job is very flexible, but you need to mentally turn on, like, run it like a 9 to 5 and create your habits early. Create your systems, your processes, the way you do things early. So when you do get busier, those are already in place. That's your groundwork. So, but I will say when he said the run the 9 to 5, things like that, there was also a topic of conversation about like having set days to do certain things and set times and time blocking and things. And after when there was a majority of them that were speaking about time blocking and doing certain things and running a 9 to 5. While I do agree to some, I do kind of agree. I also, for me personally, I'm ADD. I love the flexibility. I have 3 kids. My schedule is constantly changing. I need it to work for me. So I can't create my business in a very rigid schedule. So creating a 9 to 5, I get what they're saying. Make sure that you lock in like you would lock into a 9 to 5, but sitting at a desk 9 to 5 is exactly why I'm in real estate because I don't want to do that.
Also, I think that that can be very misleading because you feel like you have to spend your time doing things where you might not have 8 hours worth of work. And I struggled a lot with this at the beginning,
100%.
switching from being an employee to like an entrepreneur and self-employed was a huge, and we talked about that when the guys were here. It has been hard because if you tell me, okay, I got to clock in at 9, I had, sit down and do, and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? That is my biggest thing. And so like, that's why I spent time trying to learn to figure out how to fill my time up. But I think that having a to-do list, having like your priorities and things like that is definitely going to be, I don't know, time blocking doesn't work for me. I don't like
Doesn't work
it.
for me either.
It
Me
doesn't work
neither.
for me. And it's not
I
even because it's strict and rigid. That's not even it. It's just the fact of like,
It
I
feels like a
can't,
cage to me.
yeah, I feel like I'm not going to want to do it, but also I don't want to try to fill those time blocks up with something. Like I would rather go with my vibe and how I'm feeling for the day. I don't want to decide on Monday that on Wednesday I'm gonna film all this content and take all these pictures, and then Wednesday I start my period and I'm like, I'm not doing shit. You know what I'm saying? And then I didn't do anything Monday or Tuesday, and I'm not doing anything Thursday or Friday. So I think it's really for me how I feel, as long as I'm getting my stuff done.
When you say how you feel, I also just want to clarify, like, because I just don't want it to get misinterpreted. Because even when you don't feel good, you still push through. And so if you wake up and you're not feeling good, you just started your period, you're not going to go out there and want to film fucking videos. You're going to be on your period in a blob. But I don't want
Well,
anybody,
yeah,
like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, I don't want people to think that, like, your mood dictates, like, if you're structured or not that week because you're a baller yourself. Like, but there needs to be an in between a rigid schedule and just, like,
la di
moving with
da.
the wind. Yes. Yeah.
Well, something that has helped a lot in my coaching system that they taught us is like you have to have expectations for yourself on your floor days, which is like the bars on the floor. And you need to have expectations for
Yep.
yourself for like, this is a ceiling day. Like I can accomplish everything. And if you have your bare minimums, that helps me so much because I know that I've checked all 3 boxes and okay, I'm done. I'm having a really, really bad day. Like I'm bloated, I'm sick, whatever. Not bloated. I don't know. That was stupid. I don't even, but you're having
Regardless.
a bad day, at least if you did the things that are gonna move your needle forward, and I think that it's really important to do something that's gonna move your business forward every single day.
100%.
I sat with, somebody in our industry, and it was at one of the installation lunches, and he's like he was very scary to me at first, and I was like, "Hey, I guess you're kind of a big deal at this thing, huh?" And he just started laughing, and I was like I kind of asked him because he knew that I was hungry when I very first started. And I was like, "What did you do? Like, how did you get started? What kind of made you go?" And he said that every day he had to be doing either a contract, a closing. If he didn't have either of those, he was getting business. And he's like, "I didn't care how that looked. I was having conversations."
Yeah. I
Because if you're
agree.
sitting inside all day, what are you do? You can't talk to anybody. And okay, you could do it from social media. I get that. Um, and I do. I mean, that's how I build my business. But also, I do think there's something to be said about going out there and just like hustling it up because I mean that's
100%.
gratification.
Well, whatever you're doing, just be smart about it. Don't be wasting time. If you're, however you're building relationships, just make sure it's intentional. However, whichever way you're doing it, like you can't just like expect it to come to you.
I
Like it's just
volunteered a
not.
lot at the beginning
Yeah.
too.
Yep. And I was loud and obnoxious on social media. So, like, I was never face to face with people, but I was building relationships on social media. And that was
Hmm.
also like my career peaked during COVID because everybody was then doing that. Like, everybody was behind a computer. Nobody was face to face. So, I was building connections during COVID when I had nobody to talk to and they had nobody to talk to. And we were just all talking to each other. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Fun times.
Um, okay. Next question. What is something that keeps you focused and keeps you on your game? I had put I like staying connected. Being in real estate can feel very isolating, and dealing with problem after problem can weigh on you. So I make it a point to stay involved somewhere, so it feels like my head out of water. So for me, that's like board work. So like even if I'm like having a shitty week or I don't like problem after problem, I go sit at a board and at least I'm doing something real estate. So again, moving the needle forward, even if I'm like, you know, having a bad day. I also agree kind of what we already said, is making sure that you're involved in something that can directly impact your business in a good way. I don't have a business schedule, it's why I'm here, but being strategic on how you spend your time is important, I think.
Okay.
That's what I put.
Okay. So I hate being slow, so that alone is a motivation for me to kind of keep
Mhm.
myself busy because I don't do well sitting down. I don't do well when I'm not I don't do well when I'm not busy. I feel like I'm failing at that point. So that is kind of a motivation for me. But also I love what I was writing down. I love to collab and to get into rooms with other agents. Right before I came to Brickbelt, we had like a little group at my previous brokerage of agents who have been in the business for so long, and I just love learning. I love to learn. So whether it be podcasts or other agents, I'm also ADHD, right? So like if I am feeling like I need something shiny to kind of like spice it up, I'll do that. Like whatever that looks like, you know what I'm saying? Something to like re-spark my brain and like re-inspire me. But I know I'm very in tune with myself and my brain and the way that I function and the way that I work. And I am not afraid to admit it. Like even if I am like, okay, I have to go get a new planner I'm never going to use. I don't know, something that's going to just push me and get me forward and get the ball rolling.
Yeah, I
And
agree.
momentum breeds momentum. So as soon as you get going, you're going to keep going.
A body in motion will stay in motion.
Huh? So you know what I learned? So back in the day, I was really into like self development and self improvement. And I think that's how I became very aware. So like I used to drive from LaPorte to South Bend to my house when Eris and I first got together, and I listened to podcasts back then too. And I don't do you know who Rachel Hollis is? She's
Yeah,
like a speaker.
yeah.
What one of the things that she said that she does is she's like jumps up if she's feeling down, she just jumps. Like she's like, I'll do
Mhm.
jumping jacks and just move my
Yep.
body and shake. And that's what kind of keeps her going. And so if I'm feeling really down, I do that or take a nap.
I love or take it up. I love naps.
I love naps followed by some chips and then some coffee, and I'm good to go. I don't know what it is. I always wake up
Bitch, that's
craving
a
chips.
vibe.
Yeah, I
I'm
always
gonna
wake up
nap.
craving chips.
Oh, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna get chips. I'm gonna nap, and I'm gonna eat. What kind of chips?
Doesn't matter. You can
What's your
really
go
do
to?
anything. Well, we don't normally have chips because we're always on some type of a health kick, but, like, the first ones that come to mind are Lay's sour cream and onion.
Mm. I'm a
Yeah, after
Dorito
a nap.
girl.
Oh, we have Doritos right now, spicy
I'm a
Doritos, because we had a
ooh.
pool day, and so, we had to eat ham, cheese,
Mhm.
and Dorito sandwiches. It was so good.
That sounds fire.
Oh, it was fire. After a day by the sun.
And spicy chips, spicy nacho chips on that. Ooh, so good. Have you ever dipped the spicy nacho chips in like the whipped cream cheese? I know it sounds weird.
No, but I that's something I would probably like. That sounds like
Oh,
something I would like.
so fucking good. I could literally devour a whole tub of whipped cream cheese with a bag of
Whipped.
Doritos. Whipped,
Okay,
because the other one's hard.
I'm, like, into this. What's the next question? Sorry.
Listen, ma'am, I'm gonna need you
My
to stop putting me on a schedule.
my coffee's kicking in, girl. I'm ready to talk. I wanna yap.
Bitch. We are yapping. Anyways, okay. The next question is any additional guidance for anybody starting out or somebody that might be struggling. And I think I don't know if I've ever talked about it on the podcast before, but I remember when I was in leadership, my very first year at the academy, the president of IAR went up to speak. And when he went up to speak, he stumbled on damn near every single word. Like he stuttered, he hesitated, like, and then off the stage, I know him and he's goofy, he's silly, but everybody still, after he spoke, still respected him. They didn't think of him as like, oh my gosh, he's so uneducated because he stumbled on his words, which is a fear of mine. So like to me, seeing him up there, I shared that story because I feel like if that helped me, it might resonate with somebody else that like doesn't like I I don't necessarily mind being in front of people. I just don't want to look stupid. And I don't want people to be like, oh, this bitch up here doesn't know what she's talking about and blah, blah, blah. Like that is a big fear of mine, or stumbling on my words. And so to watch somebody who's silly and goofy off and stumble on his words, that was like huge for me. And I remember that every time I have to go speak. Also, additional guidance, know your fucking shit. Like, so like you said in the beginning when you like dove into education, this industry changes all the time. New forms or new laws or new this or new practices and things like that. And if you want to be able to pivot quickly, you have to know the basics. You have to know the laws, you have to know the rules, you have to know the documents, you have to know processes so you can move quickly and make decisions that will impact your business. Like if you know your basics and you know your shit and you have to pivot, you can do it without fear if you know the basics. And
Mhm.
this industry is going to make you pivot.
Okay. So piggybacking off of that, I think one of the reasons why I want to learn why I wanted to learn so much was because previously I had been in property management. And so I had to know my lease, right? Because when you have tenants coming in there and they're like, well, it says in my lease, I'm like, actually, what it says in your lease is this. So I kind of went into real estate with the same thing, but to the point that like I wanted to make sure that I had my clients covered no matter what. Like I knew what I was talking about because I didn't want to be bullied into something and because I didn't have the knowledge of the contract and then telling my agents or my clients, "Oh yeah, we have to give them your earnest money." No, we don't. So like I kind of went into it from the defense.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we had a fall through on our personal property that we were selling. I walked into the title company and the person at the title company was like, wow, how'd you guys end up getting the earnest money? In 5 years I've been doing title. I've never had a seller get the earnest money. That's what she told me. Okay. I was like, well, I'm an agent. I know how to get the earnest money. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's really important to me. I also wrote down be coachable because you can always learn
Ooh.
something. I think that going into this with a big ego it may not be the best for you because you can always learn something from someone. Even teachers and educators, they say that they learn from their students. I also put continue educating yourself, which is kind of what we just talked about. I think that there's always a way that you can learn to better serve your clients. The client experience is like the number one thing. And obviously, everything that you do on the back end is just the back end of things because that everything else is related to client experience. Um, and then I put this is hard in caps, but you have to decide for yourself that there's no plan B.
Hmm.
And you have to know I feel like the agents in this business that are in this that they have heart that you can tell that they care, they're the ones that love it. Like if I win the lottery tomorrow, I would probably still do real estate on the side. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Because I
for
love it.
sure.
And so I think that you have to have that mindset. You have to have that passion, and you just have to tell yourself what is the alternative?
Yeah. I
And
kind of
that's
said that
kept me
at the
in.
panel. Like, it's failure is not an option. So I'm
Hmm.
going to have to figure it out. Like, that is a big thing. So, um, I'm glad I was able to say that in a mass of people at the panelist as well too, because I want other people to know that like it's okay to have that mindset. Like I'm not saying that to be like egotistical, like or anything like that. Very humbly, I am saying I am not going to fail. So I will be better. I will do better. I will learn more. I will move differently if that means I will not fail. Like so that doesn't mean like I think I'm the best, so I'm not going to fail. No, it means I'm going to improve myself however I need to make sure that I succeed.
With real estate, you get what you put into it, and you'll learn really quickly. If you're not doing shit, you're not gonna make shit, and it doesn't come easily.
It
So,
does not. A couple other things that I wanted to talk. There's two things that other panelists said that I thought was really good that I took notes on is that said, right now we live in a day and age where everything is very techy. So he said, when you're high tech, don't forget to be high touch as well. So a lot of people hyperfixate on the tech side of thing and then they forget how to actually be people when you're face to face. Like they don't know how to have relationships in person because all of it's behind the screen.
I've struggled with that actually, um, I would say more so lately, just not really feeling like I could flow a conversation, you know what I'm saying? And we joke about it
Hmm.
on the podcast because I'm like anyways, like, when we're moving on from a topic because I need to practice my segues, but I think that obviously there's people that are way worse than me. There was a person that my husband met for the first time at a party, and he's like, "Whoa, that was not what I expected." Because on social media, she's so bubbly and like she loves to talk, and because I like to watch people talk, that's something I like to do.
Yeah.
So like, if someone's talking, I'm like really engaged with what they're saying. The talking head videos, I like them. I don't
Yeah.
know. it's like the tone of voice, like the cadence, I don't know what it is, but when Eris met her, he was, like, blown away by the difference in personality because she really didn't know how to have a conversation. But they say, like, if you don't know how to talk to someone and it feels so awkward, but always pay them a compliment. And if you pay someone a compliment, it just kind of breaks the ice. And it's so easy because you can do it and you'll genuinely be able to find something that, like, to compliment someone on.
Yeah.
Like, Paige, I
Yeah.
love your orange shirt with your tan. It looks so good.
Thank you so
You know?
much.
You're
Yeah.
welcome.
Thanks. I don't like compliments though. So like for me, that's not.
It's a fucking t-shirt. Move on.
I'm
Get
gonna
over
be awkward.
yourself.
So most people you can compliment and it'll work. You compliment me and I'm shutting down. So
I
not to
just will
you
tell you where
because
I got it.
oh, I'll
TJ
be like,
Maxx
it's exactly what I was gonna say. I think I got this at TG Maxx. Thanks.
or Old Navy.
Or I say, oh, really? Thanks. I got it from TJ Maxx or something. That's how
Yeah.
I would say it normally in person.
Oh,
Oh,
thanks. Jeez, this whole thing.
thanks. Oh, this little guy? Or
I
like
got this from the boys section at Hollister because I really did. I really did.
Okay. So another question that they asked that I don't know. I just want to, I guess, talk about it. Not necessarily like if you don't have an answer for it, that's okay too. But
Baby, I had answers today. I have
okay.
answers.
So one of the questions that they asked me, but it's also a question that I think we see a lot when we're like asked questions about ourselves, but it's like, who is one person that you look up to? Like, who's a role model? Who inspires you? Who do you follow to like draw from or to stay consistent or to do, or somebody maybe that inspired your growth? Something to that effect. Any questions like that? I shut down because I don't know how to answer that question. And I will say the majority of the table either said God or they said their father. So like, and that's wonderful for them. When you come from a childhood like mine, those aren't really like you're looking to break generational curses. So it's hard to like pull motivation when you are in a toxic environment growing up, and then when you have like when you're bullied a lot, like I'm just using me as an example, like bullied a lot and you didn't really have close friends, it's like really hard to draw from from one specific person. I look for what works and what doesn't in everybody. There's not like really one person or one thing that comes to mind. It's just like a bunch of little things. I study people as a whole and pull lessons. So yeah, that was kind of my answer to that. But I don't have like an industry pro or like a famous person that I try to like emulate or something.
I don't either. I will say, like, when I was getting started, there's really not a lot of real estate podcasts out there. So like I
Mm-mm.
utilize podcasts because we have a podcast, but also because it was how I learned a lot. I will say that the Hustle Humbly, I feel like they have a lot of really great information for agents starting out. So like that's something that I saw what they were doing. I was like, okay, this is like the type of agent I would aspire to be. So that's like where I would invest. You know what I'm saying? Like I would invest money in like their courses or whatever. And but aside from that, I see what you're saying. Like, I just kind of look at what's going on. I will say, okay, so I've talked about her before, but the girl on Instagram that I met in Mexico that you are just like, okay, we are so different. Okay. I know that my life would never be like her life. And it's not because I don't think I could do it.
It's
It's
because your
just
life
because,
is real.
okay, but I don't have it in me to like, I'm not that hardcore. Okay. Because I want to enjoy life and I want to be softer and I don't want to be like, she's very hardcore. However,
Because
I
she's insane, but it's fine.
okay. I don't know why you hate her so much.
I don't hate her. I hate the idea of that because every person that does that, they don't have money and they're pretending to have a lavish life to make lavish money.
It
They
is
are
hard for me
lying.
to understand how someone is lying about that, though. Like,
The only reason I believe that it's true is because I know it firsthand. I have physically seen it firsthand with somebody that what the life that they live on social media as this lavish, great, I'm giving away shit, I make all this money, they're drowning in debt.
Okay, so what I
according
was
to
saying
my
to that,
case.
she's
So
not someone she's not someone that I, like, necessarily look up to or want to be like or want to have her life, but some of her messaging that she has is just very much like betting on yourself, doing the work, putting in the work, not giving up, hustling hard, and that's all stuff that I, like, agree with, because especially being in real estate, it doesn't come easily, like, you have to be a hustler or you're not gonna survive. So, I do kind of look at that, like, same thing with you, and it's like, I really admire people who can execute. Something that Eris
mm,
I don't know if he learned this at the panel or if he saw a video, but he was telling me, when you get an idea, you implement it right away. Like, you don't think about it, you don't write it down because you just need to do it at that moment, in that moment. And there's so many times that that does happen to me. So that's kind of like I guess, like a trait that I admire in people.
absolutely. I feel like that was brought up at the panel, and I
Mhm.
don't know if that's because somebody else said that they saw a video like it. I feel like I heard that story. Um, which then leads me to my next point before I become a hater.
Okay.
Um, so one of the other questions was like, who is somebody that you would want to sit down and get coffee with? And the first guy that spoke, he said God, and then like he also said his wife who had passed away, and I'm like, I'm not following that with my freaking like it's not shallow but more like modern answer. Like, I'm not following Jesus and your dead wife. So I like made the other panelists go like, I'm not following that question or that answer. But one thing is like the person that I would like to sit down and get coffee with or drinks with or just become best friends with, she's an incredible observer, and she talked about in one of her documentaries that like every time that she has an idea that comes to mind, she'll step away and she'll like talk about it and like in her notes or write it down or do like a voice message or create a tune in her head and like record it. Like, so that kind of goes in with what Era said. Like, when you get an idea, like implement it, which I do agree. But sometimes, like, if you're in the middle of dinner, you can't really implement your grand idea sometimes. So you do have to write it down. And ever since I heard this artist say that, I was like, oh, as soon as I get an idea, I need to write it down now because I have so many ideas. But obviously, like, it's T Swift, it's you whatever. But
Obviously.
obviously, but she knows how to connect with people. She sells millions of dollars. Her business is just like how she maneuvers around business and how she leverages opportunities to for more opportunities is just incredible to me. Like, she's just an incredible observer and connector, and it just shows. And I should be in New York today watching her get married because she doesn't know that we're best friends yet, but whatever. I wasn't invited. It must have missed the mail.
So it probably just got lost, Paige. You know who actually I said this is gonna sound so stupid, but I actually told Eris as we were driving yesterday. I said if anybody asked me who I would have sit down with, it is officially the couple who got an Empire State Building, and let me tell you why. Okay, this is what I like. Ever since I've seen that, I've been looking at things in the air, and I'm like, that's not even as high as they were. Okay, first of all, how are two people that talented, like, how did they meet? Like, how are they doing this? Also, like, you would have to really trust someone with your whole I feel like they have a like, their relationship has to be fucking solid because you're doing something so crazy that can end your life in, like, a blink or a sneeze or someone grabs you, like, that's insane to me, so I feel like they probably have, like, a really great relationship, like, with communication and everything. But also, of course, I love their message.
Yeah,
But I would love to freaking hang out with them because who does that shit? Like that is the most unhinged thing I have ever seen. But
I
also,
know.
I have so much fucking respect for them, and I don't even know them, and I love them so much now. Like that's just fucking cool. And you're
I
just
think that's
like,
cool as shit.
whatever. Like I'm just yeah. We woke up this morning and we're like, okay, today's the day. Let's go.
Yeah,
The fuck?
let's.
Like I
And
want
he's
to
like, I'm
talk
gonna
to
bring a
them.
ring too, and I'm gonna propose. Like, we're about to do this whole fucking thing.
Yeah, I want to talk to them because what? Like I don't know. That was so
They
cool to
look
me.
fit as hell too,
Oh yeah. So you know that they're disciplined. They're out here doing the shit together. They're doing it all.
and they're
And
a little bit crazy.
they're a little bit crazy, which I love. They're
We
freaking
love.
cool. And like I just imagine, like I said, that I'm sure they probably have like a really great line of communication if I had to guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I would like to hang out with them now.
Me too. We need to go be friends with them. Let me know if you meet them.
Well, the way that I'm gonna yeah, I don't know. I know I'm obsessed with them now.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, switching over to hater time. Okay, so last last night at after 8 o'clock, I get a text, or I'm sorry, I get a showing request for a certain time, time A. And then 20 minutes later, they reschedule it to time B. So we're at this point, by the time they've had their final showing request in 40 minutes, she sends me a message on showing time that says, I've been waiting for my showing request to be approved for quite some time. Can you tell me why it's not accepted yet? I said, ma'am, it's been 40 minutes, an hour since your OG one, and it's after 8 o'clock. Could be that the sellers are in bed for the night. Maybe they put up their phones. I don't know. They haven't responded. 40 minutes? And you're saying I've waited a long time? That annoyed me last night.
That is annoying. Did you get her approved?
She ended up canceling the fucking showing, bro.
What the heck? Well,
And it was for Saturday. It wasn't even today. It was for Saturday, tomorrow.
and she wanted, and this was
A
last night?
response in 40 minutes.
Okay.
Last night.
Maybe she's very type A.
But like, I
That
would
is
never,
unrealistic expectations.
that is an unrealistic expectation. Okay? And then, the other thing, and I just want to say this, and I want to say it out loud. I need to put it somewhere, and I almost made a whole ass Facebook status about it because I just wanted to scream it from the rooftops. So I'm okay with agents giving short notices, as long as you give me a heads up. But when I push back on your short deadline and you say, well, I gave the seller everything they wanted, they had it listed, like, don't you want to get this wrapped up and done for them? I do. Trust me. I want to get this house sold for as quickly as possible, for as much money as possible. So like, I don't care about your quick deadline if I can wait a couple hours and get a handful more thousands of dollars if I'm waiting on multiple offers. And so for you to push back and be like, well, we gave you everything you wanted, I want to try to get this house sold for as much as possible, as quickly as possible.
We actually had an agent say the same thing about a listing. I don't think it was like just on the market, but this particular seller was was very like analytical, like she needed to know the things, needed to process. I don't think that agents understand because our industry is so fast paced. People don't understand that normal people time is not real estate time. And so
No,
people need time to process. Their brain needs time to wrap around what's going on, even if you're giving them a full price offer. Even if they expected to get multiple offers, even if they expected to sell fast,
yeah,
when they actually get that offer, they're not ready. They need,
yeah,
in most cases, I feel like they need time to think about it. They need to absorb it
100%.
and see if they're making the best decision.
100%. So just if that's your response to anybody saying, well, don't you want to get this wrapped up quickly? Yeah, quickly and for as much money possible. Don't forget that second part because I think they're equally as important. I have 2 more things on here. Do you want to
Okay.
go? I've been talking a lot.
I don't even know where to start. This has been a week. So I have a few things to talk about. I guess, you know what? Let's start off light. I got a new client over the weekend, my highest price point that I've ever worked. And they're really cool, really laid back, really down to earth. I like the sweetest people I've ever met. So it's very like easy to talk to them, but still there's some type of like pressure, because I know they know multiple agents. I know that they're choosing me and I just want to make sure that I'm like professional. One funny thing is that they do know my mom, and my mom had said that, oh yeah, they said you were like so professional and calm. And I was like, that's funny because calm has never ever been like a word to describe me ever. So I'm like,
Yeah, yeah.
okay, that's different. So this is probably like an agent's worst nightmare, right? I went to showing time and I pressed get directions. Do you do that or do you type
All
it
the
in?
time. All the time.
You get directions. Okay. I knew when I was passing the exit, I was like, I feel like it's this way. Cause we were looking at a home, like, was it Lakeville? So anyway, so I was like, I feel like this is the exit. We were on the bypass. And my GPS was telling me 31 miles straight. So I was like, that's really weird. I wonder what's going to happen. So as we get, I would say probably 5 miles up, I was like, wait, something's definitely wrong here. So my clients were following me and I had to get off of the bypass just to get back on the bypass and go 20 minutes back in the other direction because I didn't trust my gut. And I felt so stupid, like, the whole way. I was, like, sunk down in my chair, and it wasn't a huge deal, right? Like, people make mistakes, but in that moment, I was so embarrassed because I knew that that was my fucking exit, and I didn't get off on it because I was trusting the GPS. So the whole time, I was just, like, turning red. I was like, "Oh god," like, "I cannot believe I did that."
Were they upset?
No, they were not upset. He was just kinda laughing about it. He's like, "Oh, yeah, Real turned around, didn't you?" And I was like, "Yes, like, let me just tell you, it was I didn't trust my gut in that, knowing that the city was this way, I still went straight." Um, so they did not get upset, but I do think it kinda pushed them back a little bit with their schedule, so he was just kinda getting, like, antsy. But then we met up the following day and everything was great, but it just made me feel really stupid.
I've done that before.
Yeah, I didn't like it.
I've
Especially
done
on the
I've done it more
bypass.
than once.
Well, on the bypass, you can't even, like, try to play it off because it's like you're getting off to get back on. It's not like you can be like, "Oh, I just took a wrong turn." Like, no, we're getting off to get back on. It was just stupid.
Yeah. Did you call them and tell them, like, as you're getting off?
I tried, but he didn't answer, and then he's like, "Oh, yeah, I didn't realize you called," and then I couldn't, like, I don't know, something happened, but I did try to call him.
I'm sorry that you went it's so funny. Years later, you'll laugh at this.
No, it's funny, like, I
That's
I
fucking
can
hilarious.
I can laugh stuff off, but, like, in the moment, I was just very
Oh,
frazzled.
for sure. So embarrassing. So embarrassed. I've done it before too. And then they always make jokes like, "Don't know where you're going. You're supposed to be the realtor." And I'm like, you're right."
I always ask when they're following me, like, "Dude, what's your vibe? Like, are you fast driver, slow
Ooh.
driver? How are we gonna do this?"
Oh, I prefer if you don't follow me. I would just prefer. I will meet you there.
Mhm.
Don't follow me. You're not gonna like me afterwards because one, I drive too fast, and two, I don't pay attention half the time because I'm texting and driving. No, I'm not. I didn't say that on the record.
The record. Sorry, bud.
On the record. Okay. What else?
You want me to go again?
Yeah, I spoke like 3 times in a
Okay.
row. My vocal cords are hurting.
So this was the one that really no, I have 2 that are equally pissing me the fuck off at the moment. And you guys know that Paige is the one that drops the F-bomb, so I must be really in my feelings. I don't even know where to start. Okay, I'll start with this one because it's at the top of the list. Okay, same clients, very first time meeting them, going to see a house at 1 p.m. Talk to the seller in the morning or the listing agent in the morning, ask some questions about the septic, whatever, whatever, in the morning. Showing is at 1 p.m. As we're getting there, I'd made some type of a comment. I had asked about an offer or something like that. He's like, "Yeah, we do have one that expires at 1 p.m." Why would you not tell me this as I'm going at 1 p.m. to your listing?
Is this a male agent?
Yes.
Does his name start with an A?
No.
Okay.
No. I was just kind of like, we're having a conversation, we're talking. Is it not common courtesy to be like, "Hey, we have an offer." Okay, maybe it was, they couldn't disclose it, whatever, whatever. But he did disclose it to me. So that wasn't in their contract that he couldn't disclose offers because he did disclose it to me.
I hate that.
And I said, "Just so you know, like, my buyers are coming from a different state. Just so you know, like, I don't know, it just pissed me off."
The lack of consideration in this world pisses me off.
So
I
then the first
literally
time I'm going, hold on, hold on.
But you
Now
just
I'm
talked
getting
to him
mad
that
again.
morning.
Yeah. And the
So
fact
he
that,
had the offer this morning. He surely
yeah,
did.
yeah, he did. And the worst part was now I have to go meet these people and say, "Hey, just so you know, there is an offer that expires right now."
Sorry
And
that I was 20 minutes late yesterday. Just kidding.
no, this was the first day that I met
I
them.
know.
But like, if they're going to go, they're going to fall in love with it. Like, the last thing you want to do is push them right now. And I still wanted to obviously meet them and see, like, hey, if it's the one, I mean, I'm sure we can make it happen, but that's just such a shitty situation to be in.
I literally got an offer with a short deadline and called all of the other agents at the showings and picked their brains about their buyer to see if they could compete. Like, that is how you properly do business.
Right,
You
because
for your
why
client. That's not even just being a good agent. Like, that's not even
an agent to agent thing?
this is like because what if they accepted that offer and your buyer was interested?
What if they were a cash buyer?
What
What
if they
if
were a
they
cash
would
buyer?
have done other things? What if, uh,
And he knew your showing was there. It's not like he was like, "Oh, I didn't even see it. I'm so sorry." Like,
I scheduled it the day before?
you talked to him though too.
Yeah,
You were
yeah,
like
I just
front of
talked to him.
mind.
Yeah, I had just talked to him in the
No,
morning.
no. I don't like it. That's no excuse. That's pure laziness. I'm sorry.
Oh, and then he says, well, the seller can't get to it, so they'll probably let it expire. That's not the point. And then he's calling me the same day, like right after we finished, like, hey, were you guys going to make an offer? Wouldn't you like to know?
No, we're not, bitch. I'll let you know in 5 hours. I'm just kidding. Make you wait, fucker.
Well,
Sorry, that was
oh,
rude.
oh, oh, because that's what I said. I said something along the lines of like, it would have been really nice to have known that so I could have prepared them so they could have been mentally preparing to make a fast decision. He's like, like he just chuckled it off.
I need to know who this is. I'm gonna need you to text me that.
I'll text it to you, but he's not from here.
That's okay. I still like to keep a running list. Okay. So rapid fire through these other things. I find it increasingly annoying for me lately, and I would love somebody else's opinion on it, is that like there are these brokerages and teams that are high producers, high volume, like mass volumes. Love it. Love that they are successful. But their main recruiting tactic is money, 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 money. So when you are posting about, like, I get it, real estate is a money business, but when you're like, oh, we're going to take great care of you and you're more than just a transaction, but then when it comes to recruiting on the same platform, it's money, 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 money. I am so sick and tired of seeing money hungry people. I don't know if it's because we live in a world where like money and power are so like front of mind for everybody and it's like dirty power and dirty money that I'm sick and tired of seeing people flash around power and money. It's making me fucking sick. Are you seeing what I'm seeing or am I just like on the wrong side of social media?
I don't know who you're talking about specifically to see, but
There's a
you know,
bunch.
okay,
But there's
okay.
one in specific that I did name prior to recording that I feel, and I like this person just fine. And I
What
think
are
that,
they recruiting? Agents?
yeah, because they have a brokerage or a team. Yeah. That they want to have them on. And I agree. But like we also, it's also kind of tone deaf because I feel like a lot of agents are money and culture are equally as important. And when like everything screams you're a dollar sign, that makes me feel like, ugh, gross.
So your clients are a dollar sign also. Okay, this one just came to me. I don't even know. So, for someone who sells new homes, they're like a representative of a company. They're not a licensed agent. And they are speaking on, I don't know, let's just say hypothetically, they're talking about reasons why people would buy a new home versus a used home. One of the things that they're saying is like, oh, you don't get any inspection prizes, surprises, and it's just very cut and dry, and it's very okay. They can get their inspections, but they can't ask for any repairs. So they can get inspection. Don't we have an agent in our office who bought a new construction home and had an inspection on it and found things wrong? Okay, but also like there, I have a client who bought a house and had their roof leaked, had their basement leaked, and they're not willing to negotiate. So it's like, I feel like they're kind of knocking like the whole thing, like, oh, you need a new home because you don't want to have to deal with all these problems that old homes have. When your new homes have the same problems, and you don't, at least in a transaction, we have the opportunity to fix it. And even when you're under warranty, they're half-ass fixing them to get you through their warranty period.
I agree. I feel like a lot of the advertising lately for anything, for business, for agents, for new construction, for anything that requires money, it's always bashing the other to get ahead.
Why? Why can't we all it might be a great option for someone, Maybe every single home that you put out there isn't shit. Maybe it's just maybe just the one I see, whatever. I don't know. That and it's like you I wasn't even gonna say anything, but it just made me mad.
No, that's for sure like a legit thing. Um okay, so my last thing on here and I'm going to let you end on yours, your last one. But my last thing on here um there was an issue with a transaction, and the other managing broker uh, came for my throat in an email thread in front of everybody else that was CC'd. There was a problem, and all managing brokers were CC'd, all agents were CC'd. As the two agents were trying to figure out this problem together, back and forth, the managing brokers were CC'd. I never said a goddamn thing on this email thread. I was kind of loosely following through, but at the end of the day, like, you're independent contractors. You two need to figure it out together. And I am watching you to make sure that that dialogue is appropriate and you're not saying anything stupid, and also keeping record of what they say. So this managing broker decided that they wanted to jump down my throat in front of everybody that was CC'd on that. He sent me the shittiest email, and I remember sitting in the car, and my mom and Brandon were like, "Oh, I tell him to kiss your ass," and blah 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 blah. I think I might have talked about this, actually. Now that I'm saying this out loud to you, have I talked to you about this?
No, I don't think so.
And so I responded back to them. I'm like, "Nah," I'm like, "I'm gonna tell him to kiss my ass and in the correct way. Like, I'm gonna humble him because, like, he needs to be humbled, but I'm not gonna match his energy or I'm just as bad." So, like, I literally responded back. I was passive aggressive the first time, and I said I'd be very careful on assumptions that you make. Managing broker to managing broker conversations I have found best when it's just one-on-one and not in front of an audience. I'm like, "We're not doing this." So I was like, "If you want to have a conversation separately about this as well too further, feel free to." But I responded back to everybody because he embarrassed me, and I'm like, "We're not doing all that fucking shit." So this man, I feel like most men would have been like, "Oh, fuck this bitch," and blah 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 blah, or not apologize, or not like admit their wrongdoings. This man, claps to him for real, because he literally ended sending me an email back at the end and like, "Thank you so much for humbling me. Like, I appreciate you talking to me. I hope to meet you in the future." Like, immediately rechecked himself and got back into it. And first of all, don't ever come at people aggressive and sideways, or you're going to be met with somebody who will brick wall you. And we're not fucking doing that. And two, if you do fuck up and you do make a mistake and you come in a little hot and you get humbled, have some accountability and just say sorry and move on.
Yeah, I just had an experience this past week, and Eris was kind of like laughing at me and rolling his eyes. But you get so much further when you're nice to people, when you make them feel wanted, when you thank them, when you like take accountability and like, "Hey, let's get through this together. Like, what can we do?" Than you would like that every single time.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes us being humble as well on our side of things to humble ourselves and be like, "Okay, do I want to snap? Yes, I do." I've been in the
100%.
situation even with a client before where I'm getting screamed at for something that isn't my fault. I'm talking like shredded, like, what is it called?
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting through the shredder.
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Okay." Like, "I'm so sorry." Whatever, whatever. And, people could be around you and be like, "Yeah, same thing. Fuck that, blah, blah." No, you have to go into it. And then guess what? People are going to come around because people speak with emotion and they need a chance to cool down. And being tactful and like knowing what you're saying, not getting pushed over, but what's the reason for the aggression? Like, we can get the same point across not being aggressive, and I'm not saying that because I'm, like, a pushover or anything like that, because I'm not. It's just I feel like I have empathy, and I think that I've seen it so many times that popping off on someone is never the answer
I
because
think
they're
it's
immediately
crazy
gonna
to
get
me
defensive.
that the opposite of not being aggressive is a pushover. How about just emotionally intelligent?
Oh, yeah, yeah, I guess you're right. Well, there was a situation that I faced, and someone sent me, a text of what they had told someone else regarding, like, I don't know, some situation that wasn't my problem, but they, like, sent it to me, and it was the very first time they had ever spoken to this person, and they went off over something that was so simple, and I was like, "Well, I mean, okay, but, like, you could have just said, like, 'Hey, would you mind doing X, Y, and Z because I'm still getting call,' or something like that, not like, 'I'm talking to lawyers, like, this is so illegal.'" Like,
Yeah.
I don't that's gonna piss someone off. Like, you get so much further when you have respect for the other person because it's a human on the other side of that.
Yeah. Was it a
And,
male that jumped your throat? I always
no.
Oh, okay.
No,
I
no, but
always
oh, that jumped my throat? Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I feel like it's always men. Like, I don't know what you have to prove with me, but you ain't getting one over on me, not me. Uh-uh.
I
You can
had
say your
a
fighting words.
when I managed properties though, I had a lot of issues with like maintenance, like not wanting to take direction from me. And that was what, 5 years ago at this point. So like I was a young woman and so that was difficult, but at the end of the day we got through it. Okay, you ready?
Mhm.
Okay. This is a note for everyone. This is a PSA. I don't have it written down. I'm just talking.
And I'm probably gonna get screamed at when I give my 2 cents on this.
No, not really. Okay. This is what I think. I think that our area is very nuanced, okay? I think that we're very investor heavy, but I also feel like in our area specifically where we are, block to block, okay, zip code to zip code, I feel like our market is very different, okay? For example, where I'm from, my hometown, there is one zip code. You can pretty much live anywhere there. You might have a little bit of a rougher spot, but it's the same all around. It is different here. If you're making an investment, I feel like you have to have some type of knowledge of this market. I feel like that because here's why. I have had three. I've had three situations where someone has bought a home in a shit spot where they're not going to get anything for it, where it's getting broken into this, and nobody advised them like differently. Okay, fair housing, whatever. There are ways to like advise your client to make a sound investment, I feel personally, and you can figure out however you want to do that. And I'm not saying that you can't tell them to buy here or whatever, but look at comps, look at your days on market, look at things like that and be able to educate them. Another thing that I want to say is I feel like
Especially for resale, what you're saying, especially for resale, especially when it comes to an investor, you have to know that area. I agree.
if a home is sitting on the market for 109 days, if all your comps are sitting in the markets for like 90 days, 109 days, and they're priced under 200,000 in our area, there's a reason for it. And what, so you have to be able to tell them things like that. Uh, I
Or
don't even want to
reference the
get
part of the purchase agreement that advises them to look at things up.
about statistics. I'm talking about
I
facts.
know.
I'm
I'm
not talking about demographics or areas I'm talking about
talking about crime rate is what I was talking
I'm
about.
not talking about crime rate, okay? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about
Just the
why is
simple real estate data.
just a simple real estate data that yes you could find, but I feel like again having knowledge of that in your marketplace is different, okay? Because it is so different.
Yeah. And if you don't know the marketplace that you're selling or trying to buy in, you're doing your client possibly a disservice. I recently had a listing opportunity in an area that I was not familiar with, so I started doing research because I don't know the little pockets. So I started doing research. Is there a difference in schooling? What does the grocery store look like? Like I started doing research on like little things, and even then, like you sometimes just don't know things if you don't live there. So like,
If you're having
but
a conversation though, like with your buyer or your seller, and you're like, hey, full disclosure, okay, I had a family member that bought a house way outside of my area. I said up front, this person might be a better resource for you because full disclosure, I can get you through a sale, but I don't know the area. If that is up to you, however
yeah,
you want to go forward.
yeah, I agree.
Okay. I have a situation. No, it's not even I'm not even gonna take this on. We have a situation in our area that we have it's okay. I want to be careful too. So if you don't speak someone's language, it is also a huge disservice for you to work with them, in my opinion. Okay. I don't think that you should. Even in the beginning, if I wasn't comfortable, I was also referring that out because I want to be able to serve my people, not just get a paycheck. And a language barrier is huge. They don't understand you. No fucking Google Translator is going to get it right. They're not going to feel comfortable to ask you the same questions that they could if they could pick up the phone and call you, if they have to Google Translate everything and hope everything's correct what they're saying and say it back to you. And I feel like you have to have some type of respect for yourself and your clients and your business and your integrity to not lead someone down a shit path because you can't understand what they're saying. I don't know. That's just
I
me.
agree. I agree. I worked with full disclosure, I very early in my career, I worked with a Hispanic couple. He spoke English, she did not, but when we sat down at closing, the other agent was Hispanic and they had a whole conversation that I had no idea. And like, she could have been saying things to him that that I would have been like, if she was speaking English, be like, don't fucking say that. So like, I also like, if someone's first language is Spanish or whatever else, I'm gonna give them to you guys. Like, at the end of the day,
It
that's what's
just
in the
doesn't
best
make
interest of the
sense.
client.
Right. So we're in a situation currently where a client of ours has a contract with us and apparently now has a contract with someone else because we were out of state. And they wanted a friend of theirs that they were buying a house with, whatever, knew an agent. So they're like, okay, he can take us, whatever. We were gone. We couldn't have done it. Could we have hooked them up with someone? Yeah.
That you didn't even know.
No, we didn't. But here's the thing. Like the client again wasn't educated on anything that had to do with the thing. They had no idea of again our marketplace, how long things were sitting. I don't know why they didn't look it up. I don't know. You could find that stuff out as an agent. But then again, at the same time, when you hear it, like, well, I didn't understand them. I didn't understand what he was saying. That's not right.
That isn't
I
right.
don't feel
I don't think that's right at all.
so. That's it.
Ugh. And I think that in this situation, it got brought up that because there's two buyer agencies agreements, the second agent didn't even ask if there was a buyer's agency agreement in place.
I think that's a best practice, and you can say whatever you want, but I always ask before
I
I show a home, before I make an appointment. Like, hey, do you have someone you're working with already? Just so I know.
See, that's not a normal practice for me unless there's like clues or something like that in their dialogue that makes me feel that way. I trust my gut in that moment, and that is probably room for improvement for me. But like when someone's like, "Hey, my friend so and so, I'm looking to buy my first house. My friend so and so told me I needed to reach out to you, so I had to reach out to you ASAP."
Okay, my friend so and so. I feel
So
like
to
that's
me, I'm not at
different
now
than like,
if we
hey,
go
let's
to a
go right now and
showing,
see this house. And my first
totally
question is, do you
different.
have an agent? Like, do you have someone you're working
100%.
with? Also,
100%.
it's okay. It's not a law. It's what we're supposed to do as agents. So like, that is why I asked the question. I didn't ask this before because it's like,
It is
okay,
law
whatever.
to have a buyer's agency agreement in place. It does not need
Would
to
have to be
be
ours.
it does not have to be IAR's form that they provide, but you do have to have some type of representative agreement in place for a
I'm just
buyer.
talking. Okay, yeah. So best practice. The best practice, in my opinion, is you ask someone, "Hey, do you have an agent that you're working with?" Because at
100%.
this point, if Eris wanted to be an asshole, he could be charging her, which we're not going to do that. Well, that's a conversation for him. But my point is, like, that could have costed that client a lot of money. Like potentially,
100%.
that could have costed her a lot of money for not asking, for not doing your due diligence as an agent. Because in my opinion, that is like a question that should be brought up.
100%. I
That's all.
agree. All right, guys. We're going to end on a rant, and I love it. We started off positive. We're ending negative. We probably should have flip-flopped that, but you know what? Fuck it. You know what is positive? Following us on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and YouTube at Agents After Hours Podcast for more behind the scenes chaos, real estate talk, and unfiltered conversations.
Unfiltered, as you just saw my rant. Also, if you're a real estate agent looking to grow your business, get your systems in place, just really lock in for the second half of the year, use code After Hours for $100 off Hustle Humbly Podcast at hustlehumblypodcast.com. You can use code After Hours, and you can also use the code After Hours for a discount on Modern Agent Social Club.
But not least, our
Amazon storefront.
shop it
Check it out.
now.
Check out our favorite things and remind Erica to add stuff to her cart. Okay, I
Boop,
want to
boop.
think about that. All right.
All right, bye.
Bye.